This Sunday, the 30th, join Couture the Paranormies, the Darwin Digest, and Bongo Bongo Book Club for a spooky day of live shit-effort posting. Beginning at 10 a.m, Couture for the Darwin Digest discuss spooky science and freaky philosophy. After the effort post, witness the descent of the shit-posting badness, as the Spurgs are joined by the Paranormies to debate the important questions in life. Should AI have rights? Who is more human, TAI or blacks? Then stay tuned for a chilling recitation by Bongo Bongo Book Club as they delve into some of the most spine-tingling and hair-raising offerings from the vibrant world. Rounding out the night, the Paranormies shitpost their way into a special spooky Halloween.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Paranormies present the Ahnenerbe Hour. I am Johnny Monoxide. Tonight we have Adam Haidt, Hazzard, McRee, and Greyfield Stray. No guests tonight, but hey, we got the boys. What's happening, fellas?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going wonderful, Another glorious day.
Right on.
It is rather... Wait a minute, glorious? Oh, don't rub it in. It's pissing down for me.
Adam, what's up with you, bud?
Oh, just living that neat life, getting those interviews.
Get a job,
Are you getting
Adam.
those interviews?
Yeah, I was at one today, actually.
Okay.
Nice. So you had an interview today? Cool.
Are you sure it was an interview? Are you sure it wasn't masturbation?
Did you go in and was there an entirely all too familiar couch?
Yeah, it was this really nice black leather. They said I was overdressed for it. Not really sure.
Oh, God.
Do you remember anything after they gave you that drink?
No, that was a couple days ago.
All right. Hey, Hazzard, we got some social media stuff, right? How do people find that?
Yes, we do. We have a Twitter account at @the_Paranormies. We have an email at paranormiespresent@gmail.com. Our PayPal for donations is also at paranormiespresent@gmail.com.
And don't forget, you can send your music to gfsmusic at yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com?
Yeah, Yahoo.
Okay, and also we now have a Facebook page up, and we are trying out something now where at least once a day we have an infographic with some creepy facts.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's the Facebook page is the Ahnenerbe Hour, and it's actually no, the page is the Paranormies present the Ahnenerbe Hour. My bad, I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty cool. Yeah, check it out. We own Facebook, we own Twitter, we own the interwebs.
You guys didn't even mention the donations.
Yeah,
donations.
Yeah, you can. We'll have a PO box soon, so you can send us donuts for our donation.
Delicious donations.
Delicious, dude. Donuts are great. I don't care what you guys say. Don't neg donuts. All right.
Seriously, if you guys send us donuts,
we'll eat them. So
I'll eat them.
Hazzard,
especially me. Being a European means we don't get any real food here, so I'm extremely malnourished.
If you send donuts over to England, make sure they're halal. Otherwise, Greyfield might lose his head.
Yeah.
Kind of literally.
This is true.
I swear I'm going to punch you in the soul one day, man.
Well, maybe you should come to WrestleMania so you can do that.
Oosh. All right, boys. All right, boys. Yeah, he's getting married. He's got the best excuse.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so, man, this week we have, what are we talking about, guys?
We're talking about
Bears.
demons.
demons. Did you say bears, Hazzard?
Yes.
Bears aren't paranormal.
Bears are pretty scary, dude.
Bears are scary shit, but yeah. Especially shaved ones. You ever seen a bear without its fur? That's like,
Dude, that is pure nightmare fuel.
Yeah, no shit. That's a scary fucking, bear with
Funny story, actually. I actually considered using the shaved bear as the album cover to my current album that I'm writing. I didn't in the end, but yeah.
What's the title of that current album, and when can we expect it?
Oh God, it's quite a way away, but it's currently going on. I've been advertising it as The Great British Nightmare.
Oh, fun. Are we going to have some sort of reprisal to your earlier track, Britain is Dead, in there?
I don't think I can reprise it because technically we're not yet alive. I'll have to wait for Article 50 to come through before there's any reprisal or rebuttal.
Ooh. Definitely. Well, have something ready to go then.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Greg, get on that.
I mean, you've only got, 2 to 5 years, seeing how long they drag it out?
Oh, it's a very short notice, but I'll see what I can do.
Right? Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen.
Don't worry, people. Greyfield will have it ready in time. He's not Bradshaw or Death.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about something more positive. Let's talk about demons, demonology, and demon possession.
All right.
Yeah.
I got a little brief intro here. So demons, I'm sure most of you have heard about them. They're like demonic creatures and stuff. So I found this cool demonology FAQ from this website, deliriumsrealm.com.
Does it have any gifs of spinning skulls or pentagrams?
Unfortunately not. So that does call the authenticity of this information into question. We'll see if I can email them about their GIF content. But
does your cursor at least turn into a wand?
Unfortunately, it's a very low quality website.
Oh, dear.
So it doesn't do any of that.
How can anybody take them seriously under these circumstances?
So on their demonology FAQ, they have one that's how do you define demon? And they have 6 criteria. And if this paranormal entity meets one or more of these criteria, they consider it a demon. And I think it's a pretty good starting point. So number 1, if it relates in some way to the Judeo-Christian devil. So, Yahweh, demiurge type stuff, very evil.
So it has to be Christian in order to be a demon.
Well, no.
We're talking if it's one of these 6, it's demonic.
Yeah.
Or at least what one would consider a demon.
Okay.
One or more. So, number 2 is identified by a prominent demonologist as a demon, which is, almost a tautology, but whatever.
I don't like that. That's like, it's only a demon if we say it's a demon.
Well, that's why there's 6 criteria, and it only needs to be 1.
Okay.
According to this website. So number 3 relates to the trickster archetype defined by Carl Gustav Jung, which, if you remember from our last episode, we've mentioned, wrote an excellent essay on Wotan. You should go check that out. Number 4, it's associated with death or the underworld. So I guess Varg probably counts. 5 has a destructive side, i.e. kills, drinks blood, causes destruction for fun, etc. So if you found it on DeviantArt, it's a possibility. And number 6 is associated with a destructive force of nature, which is, I think, pretty interesting because if I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe a lot of Japanese spirits and demons are related to forces of nature, and I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, particularly their yokai.
Yokai, and also
Chinese mythology, you could also go for the yogui.
Yeah, good. If we're talking sort of forces of nature and we're talking stuff like tsunamis, you'd be looking more at Kappa, though, wouldn't you? Water demons.
Ooh, yeah.
Is that the one that Golduck is based off of, or am I totally wrong?
That what is based off?
Golduck.
Oh, Golduck. Maybe?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, so I feel like that's a nice broad base to get, to kind of cover what is a demon and what isn't. because I don't know about you. I'm really looking forward to the discussion in the chat. The civil discussion about what and who's a demon.
Well, I think what's interesting is right off the bat, you notice that a lot of those defining characteristics are things that are definitely could be identified as dangerous, but don't necessarily have to be malevolent or evil. I think, if you're going strictly off of a Judeo-Christian interpretation of what a demon is, you have that malevolence, that evil in there. But there are some other cultures where, the idea and concept of a demon, while it's definitely something you don't want to irritate or get angry with you, it's not necessarily evil.
So you're saying that there are demons that are not necessarily evil demons?
Yeah. I mean, you don't generally have any conceptions of them as, sunshine and roses, nice teddy bears, but right. Not necessarily evil per se.
Okay. So more like a mischievous spirit as opposed to, would that not be a demon then? I mean, like...
Well, I mean, right off the bat, we have, 3 or 4, anything that could be identified as the trickster archetype.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting. So did any of you guys want to get into any of the other, like the different types or whatever? Are we doing that now? Or are we gonna,
we can do. I'm gonna say,
well, do you guys know? Where like all this, like this has been, demons have been talked about, written about throughout the millennia.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've only got to look as far as, say, Milton's Paradise Lost, in which he actually depicts the great fall from heaven. To the point where it was actually quite controversial at the time when they released it, because he wrote the devil character so sympathetically that a lot of people started to relate with him.
Oops.
Yeah, I know. It was very, very strange. To the point where basically Satan fights a losing war. It's a war he cannot win, but he comes away with it with a seat of power in hell and takes a third of heaven with him. So
yeah, it's been a long time since I've read that, but if I remember correctly, he wasn't necessarily malevolent. It's that he was jealous of the fact that man was given free will and the ability to use it, as flawed and imperfect as they were, but God's own children were not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Also, Milton's very unique in that the fall of Eden, he's one of the few to actively blame Adam. So, therefore, we can discount any opinion he's ever had.
I did nothing wrong.
Right. Well, I mean, demonology goes as far back as like ancient Babylon. So, like I said, it's been throughout all history. Every single
Babylon, a lot of the old Sumerian stuff. You got plenty
those Babylonian demons aren't even dead. I mean, Moloch is still worshipped by the most powerful people.
Oh God, you said the name.
Oh,
it's true. Yeah.
My Tindy spilled out of the freezer.
Actually, I saw something very macabre the other day. I saw a set of barbecue grills in the shape of a bronze bull.
Yeah, you sent me those pictures. I was like, what the hell? And then it occurred to me like an hour later exactly what was going on in those. Yeah, wow.
I was like, ooh, that's pretty macabre. I mean, I know Texas, we have the whole cow and skier motif, but still, that's ooh.
Did you open it up, and was there a child inside?
I did open it up, and there wasn't a child inside, but there was a Mexican toddler nearby, and I thought about it.
You need to make sure you have a drum so the parents can't hear the screams. That's the rules.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to at least pay some homage and use maracas.
Oh, gosh.
Jesus God.
Castanets, like clickety-clack.
Yeah, that little jingly guitar.
Right? You guys.
On literacy... On the literature, is it literacy side? Yeah, the literacy side of
literature.
The literature side. There we go. That's the one I'm looking for. Because my literacy is bad. There you go.
Tyler.
I believe, John, you looked into Demonology by King James, did you not?
I did, yeah. Wasn't necessarily going to jump on that now, but yeah, King James wrote a book called Demonology in form of a dialogue. It's divided into 3 separate books, and it was written and published in 1957. He was King James of Scotland.
6th of Scotland.
Yes, the 6th. I'm sorry. Yes, King James the 6th of Scotland, and later became James the 1st of England. And it was a philosophical dissertation on like contemporary necromancy and the various historical relationships between the methods of divination used from ancient black magic. So basically,
the King of Scotland was doing necromancy, like trying to bring haggis back to life or something.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about them.
Right, the King of Scotland, who, like I said, also became King James of England.
Never happened.
And King James is known not necessarily for his book on demonology. He's known a little bit more for another book that he authorized the writing of. I'm not 100% that he did any or all the work, but you may have heard of it. It's called the King James Version Bible.
Yeah, I actually looked into that. The reason for the King James Bible is that under his rule, they made it law that all mass had to be in English and no longer in Latin.
Right.
So
he had it translated into English.
That's very interesting because that was a big part, if I remember correctly, in taking religion, well, not necessarily religion, but taking power away from the priestly caste and giving it to the common man.
Yeah.
Because before then, Latin was the language of priests almost exclusively. And so if you can't read the religious texts, how can you cleanse yourself? How can you save your soul? You needed the help of a priest who could read the works and, conduct the ceremonies, guide you along your path to salvation. Mm-hmm. I think it's also interesting that a man that was so involved with such... You could see it kind of as a schism in the faith, was also, if we are to be believed with his prior work, potentially an aspiring necromancer, because a lot of people seem to realize that necromancy is not just the raising of the dead, it can be the contacting of the deceased as well. I mean, necromancy, death magic.
Right.
It's very interesting to think that the man both wrote a version of the Bible, one of the holiest books, and also this demonology book. I mean,
right. That's what I was. Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, I mean, talk about playing it both ways, Which, from what you tell me, he was more than happy to do. But there we go.
What year did you say that was?
Which the demonology was 1597.
Oh, yeah. I heard you say 1957 for some reason, and I was like, "Oh,
no, you got dyslexia in your ears."
Yeah, apparently.
I was just making a gay joke. That's what I was doing.
Oh, I didn't get I didn't hear what you said though. What was the thing?
Oh, I said it was interesting that he decided to play it both ways, which, from what you tell me, he was more than happy to do so.
Oh, right, yes, playing it both ways. Well, the legend is that he's buried between his favorite 2 male lovers. So that's the thing. So King James was not only a necromancer who wrote a book on demonology, he also was responsible for the translation of the Holy Bible into what was then English. And he was gay. Also, he was a very, very big supporter of Sir Francis Bacon, who was very involved in the Rosicrucian religion. That's a whole other thing. But these people, King James and Sir Francis Bacon, were also, if you're to believe some of the conspiracies out there, responsible for the works of William Shakespeare as well, because you can see the tie-ins to the demonology book, like especially Macbeth. There's quotes and rituals that are found within that are in Macbeth that are directly quotes from the Weird Sisters, which are from demonology. And he also attributed Scottish themes and and other references to trials, which King James was involved with in Macbeth too. So
it's even more surprising when you consider that James was the first Puritan king, to the point that he actually banned all sport and all games of chance, and yet was willing to write a book on demonology. This is blowing my mind. You have no idea.
It wouldn't be the first time, someone important in the history of Christianity was involved with demonology. I mean, yes, it's, it is most commonly said to be pseudo-epigraphical, but there is the Testament of Solomon and, the rumors that King Solomon was a bit of a demonologist himself.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of speculation as to depending on which religion you're looking at King Solomon from, because isn't he mentioned in several other religions besides Christianity?
I believe so, and the demons that are written about in the Testament of Solomon come from Greek, Egyptian, Jewish, Christian, Arabic, and a couple of other traditions.
Right, and they basically borrow from all of the different areas. So you have like the ancient Near East demons, you have the Buddhist demons, the Christian demons, the Hindu demons, the Islamic demons, Judaic demons, and satanic demons, and the Zoroastrians.
Zoroastrian, that is interesting. We need to do an
Zoroastrian is a good
that.
Yeah, Zoroastrian.
That's for another episode.
Yeah, the Zoroastrian the Zoroastrian flavors, the sects of Christianity that are heavily influenced by Zoroastrianism are very interesting because the angels in them are much more akin to the original scriptures and text, because anytime you see illustrated manuscripts, etc., any representation of an angel is going to be some sort of human-like figure who is ephemerally beautiful and somewhat androgynous. But if you take a look back at your older scriptures and readings, angels looked nothing like people. These were beings for function, not for form.
They were scary as hell.
Right.
Yeah. They were something that looked more like what you see out of, your older Japanese and Chinese mythology than what we think of as, Christian.
With the big wheel of eyes.
Speaking of Zoroastrianism, guys, real quick, and the Zoroastrian tradition, there's a name you guys might know. Ahura Mazda, as the force of good, spent in Mainu was, you didn't get the Ahura Mazda thing? No.
No, explain.
Never mind. Esotericism.
Kamina Honda?
Yep. That's where Ahura Mazda comes from, that whole joke. Yeah. Anyway, that's a Zoroastrian good entity and would come to battle with an evil force known as Angra Mainyu or Alhurman. That was like the head bad guy, head demon in Zoroastrianism.
Yeah.
But I should have prepped you guys for the Ahura Mazda thing, but yeah, it's been a while.
So that particular bad guy that particular demon is a bad guy.
Yes. Angra Mainyu was or Ahurman is that's the name of the Ahura Mazda was the good guy. It was like the force of good.
Okay.
Zoroastrianism actually, Judaism actually borrows a bit in their demonology, because Judaism never really officially recognized a set of doctrines about demons. They kind of believe that they borrowed from demonology from Zoroastrianism. So their angelology, their eschatology, and like I said, they're heavily influenced by the Zoroastrian.
A little bit vague, boy.
Right. But they also believe that some of them came from part of the Kabbalistic tradition, and Kabbalah is another.
Well, some people think that Yahweh himself is just a volcano demon.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think
you are
really
going to troll you're going to troll our listeners, because we got a lot of criticism over talking about the old gods last time.
Did we?
Well, we didn't get a whole lot, but what we did was very, very angry.
Yeah, I was pretty angry. I noticed that. Anyways, let's go back to King James for a few minutes here.
Before we get back to King James, I'd like to finish up on Solomon. And Here's a little bit about the ending of the Testament of Solomon, and let me quote, there follows a short conclusion in which Solomon describes how he fell in love with a Shunammite woman and agreed to worship Remphan and, would you like to guess what the other demon that I'm about to name is?
Moloch.
Moloch in exchange for sex.
Yeah.
Oh, our old friend.
Strange how he keeps
We always keep coming back to him.
Just can't get away from him.
It's almost like I walk hand in hand with him, isn't it? Because the scratch. Okay, shut up.
Okay, so the reason why King James actually wasn't that he was, well, according to this, anyways, that he wasn't trying to become a necromancer or that anything. It was that he wrote these books, basically making arguments and comparing magic, sorcery, and witchcraft. But then he also wrote the classification of demons, which is like the monstrous compendium at the end. The thing is he was really influenced by the witch trials of North Berwick in 1590, and so I'm
gonna have to call you up here on your pronunciation. It's Berwick.
Is it Berwick?
Berwick, yes. Berwick upon Tweed is the name of the place.
North Berwick, the witch trials from 1590. They executed a sorcerer in 1591, and it was basically in their local newspaper called The News from Scotland, and that was also included as the final chapter of his demonology book. Where they basically endorsed the practice of witch hunting in a Christian society. So he begins the book, "The fearful aboundage in this time in this country of these detestable slaves of the devil, the witches or enchanters, hath moved me, beloved reader, to dispatch in this post the following treatise of mine, to resolve the doubting that both such assaults of Satan most certainly practice, that the instrument thereof merits most severely to be punished." So
basically, get that in English.
Right. So these nasty slaves of the devil, witches or enchanters, they've moved me to basically say that assaults that are committed by these people are to be punished at the highest level. So basically by death.
Most severe.
Yes, most severe. So he basically a lot of the sources for his book were confessed, which is judicial case history and actually the Bible itself. So, but he had a bunch of dissertations on magical studies to help him with his education on the relationships between the spirits and men. But he basically was trying to prove that the devilish arts have always been and yet still are, but also explains the justification of a witch trial and the punishments which a practitioner of the dark arts, it deserves, basically. So he kind of goes at it like kind of as scholastically, yet sort of anecdotally at the same time. But he says that these are all possible and are the natural causes of the devil's power with the use of philosophical reasoning.
So. Yes, but you have to remember, philosophical reasoning at the time was you got a toothache, let's take a nail, scratch your gum, and drive it into a tree.
Right. Yeah. So the book is actually it's a political and theological dissertation between two characters, Epistemon and Philomethes. Then they debate the different topics of magic, sorcery, witchcraft, and demonology. So it's basically a true novel. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a novel based on real stories or whatever.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story, right? Yeah. So the book then it's divided into 3 books, and you got book 1 is the division of various magical arts with a comparison between necromancy and witchcraft, charms, circles, and conjurations, the divisions of astrology, the devil's contract with man, because the devil made a deal, right? And the comparisons between the miracles of God and the devil and the purpose of these practices. In the second book, the main argument in the second book is based on like sorcery and witchcraft. So the difference between biblical proof and imagination or myth, or the description of sorcery and the comparison of sorcery to witchcraft, goes in depth into the path of the sorcerer's apprentice, and the different curses and the roles of Satan, the appearances of devils, and the times and the forms that they may take, and because people have seen them different ways, different times, in many different shapes, whatever. And the division of witches' actions and the methods of transportations and the illusions of Satan.
Okay.
And then the third book is the conclusion, where he basically provides a description of all the different kinds of demons and spirits and specters and whatnot. The last book is the classification of demons, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has the demonic forces described as spectra, which is used to describe spirits that trouble houses or solitary places. Mm-hmm. Obsession, which is used to describe spirits that follow upon certain people to outwardly trouble them at various times of the day, referencing like incubi. Possession, which is used to describe spirits that enter inwardly into a person to trouble them. And last but not least is fairies, used to describe illusionary spirits that prophesy, consort, and transport their servants.
It's amazing, isn't it? Considering that the fairies historically have been always very mischievous and very cruel to humans. Mm-hmm. Yet we peddle them to children as these cute like playthings, essentially.
Yeah, Tinkerbell,
Fairy tales are screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
Fairy tales are screwed up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so King James...
So all the demons that he described just were different like ways for Satan to just harm people, it seems.
More or less, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know.
I think that's just a really distinct aspect of the Judeo-Christian tradition, because he, wrote or, oversaw the translation for the King James version of the Bible. And so it seems, it makes sense that he would then go on to classify all, these negative things as demons.
Right.
Well, I think demons.
But how is that colored just by his, being a Christian at the time and being involved in the translation and everything?
Well, I mean,
that's what I was going to say.
He's the king.
I think that at the time, demons were essentially just people's way of explaining bad things happening all the time. I mean, obviously, if I'm taking a skeptical approach.
I mean, yeah, demons could be responsible for practically anything. Ill health, a bad harvest, misfortune, famine, anything and everything could be the works of demons.
That's true. And that's the other thing is, a lot of times they were assigned, like not just demons, but like witches, everybody knows Monty Python, we found a witch, maybe we burn her, like she's got the nose. Yeah. It's like all that, but right. But like that was, witch hunts were a big thing in the late 1500s. But anyways, to finish up with King James, so he didn't really write the book to say that he was to actually, like talk about, conjuring and whatever, but he does know a good bit about all this stuff to be able to write, on all these topics. So it seems to me that the book was kind of like a response to his involvement in all those witch trials, and then, oh, wow. I'm sorry. Agnes Thompson confessed to have attempted his assassination. So somebody attempted to assassinate King James using witchcraft on more than one occasion. I was just scrolling through there. It's crazy. Yeah. So
he hangs out with these demons all the time. I'll be like, hey, why don't you guys take him out?
Right. But well, I guess the deal was he was the judge over all these Say it again for me, Hazzard. North where? I mean, Hazzard. Greyfield.
North Berwick.
Berwick. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Berwick.
Hazzard got it right too. Thanks. But he presided over, as the judge over all these witch trials in the late 1590s. So, there was, I guess he had just seen so much of it. There was I don't know how many. Where does it say? I don't know how many witch trials he actually presided over, but apparently it was enough for him to write a book. The one that he tried to murder him.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the witch trials was a lot of there's a big misconception over the burning of witches that only really ever occurred in America. In the UK, and indeed in most Catholic countries, burning was a punishment for a crime against the church. Witchcraft was not seen as a crime against the church, it was seen as a crime against the state, and as such, generally they were hung. The only exception is actually in King James of Scotland, where they went for a process called wearying. Now, what wearying is you tie the witch to a stake, you then take a wire and you strangle them to death.
Oosh.
Yeah. So if he's presided over as many as it seems, he's probably seen some pretty fucked up methods of execution.
Yeah. Well, that the Agnes Thompson woman who confessed to attempting to assassinate King James more than once, said that she participated in a sabbat during All Hallows Eve, as her and others sacrificed a cat and sent it into the sea as they chanted in hopes of summoning a tempest to sink a fleet of ships accompanying King James as he was arriving in the port of Leith from a trip to Norway.
It seems harsh.
One ship was sunk containing gifts meant for the Queen of Scotland, but the others made it, and something happened. So they sacrificed their cat and did some chanting, and a storm actually hit the fleet of ships that they were intending. So, coincidence?
Yeah.
Why would you confess to that?
Well, during a witch trial, I'm sure there was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like, hey, by the way, King. Yeah, no. It was during one of the North Berwick witch trials. So another one was a Dr. Fionn, who was deemed a notable sorcerer and was among many others that were apprehended in the trial. A doctor who was a witch, so apparently a witch doctor. But
wouldn't that be a warlock then?
Yeah. Well, technically, yes. So the pamphlet that I was just talking about, it details like all the reasons for conducting the sorcery, the methods that they did it, and how each of the witches were apprehended, and the torture methods used.
Do they mention the ducking stool?
The ducking stool. Yeah, they duck them to death. Yeah.
No, what it is, ducking stool, for people who don't know, it was a method of attaining a confession. What they would do is they would put the accused on it's like a wooden chair, which was on the end of this large pivot, and they would literally tie them to it and then dip that that chair into like a lake. The idea was that if they were innocent, they would die a good Christian death. If they weren't, they would drown. So 9 times out of 10, if they were going to die anyway, they would prefer not to drown, so they would just confess on the stool there and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah,
it seems like kind of a heads I win, tails you lose thing.
Yeah, if you die, you're not a witch, and oops. And if you survive, you're a witch, and we kill you.
Right. Right. The case of Dr. Fionn, I was standing to finish, but he actually had an actual contract with Satan.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, so like the book, the Demonology book, and King James' involvement in the witch trials, like I said earlier, it says may have contributed to Macbeth, but I mean, if you've ever read Macbeth, he's got basically direct quotes that are like directly from the testimonies of the witch trials, out of the News of Scotland pamphlet, and that Macbeth became really popular a couple of years after Demonology came out, and
Well, you've got the Weird Sisters, don't you?
And then you also have Matthew Hopkins, that demonology heavily influenced. He was a witch finder between 1644 and 1646. And I just take a wild guess how many witches he rounded up and executed in 2 years.
88.
I'm going to say 16.
16. Okay, no. Adam?
88.
No. Hazzard?
No clue.
300.
Ooh.
In 2 years. Yeah. In 2 years, he rounded up, tried, and executed 300 witches. He published a book in 1647 called The Discovery of Witches. Cited demonology as the source for creating methods in discovering the witch. So, The Discovery of Witches, if you ever want to learn how to find a witch, it's a book published in 1647 and heavily influenced by King James. Or Jesus Christ, 300. That is like a witch every other day, almost.
It seems harsh, but it's the only way we can really combat against the 3D menace.
Right.
That one was for Hazzard.
This is true. So King James was big time into demons. He, like I said, in the third book, he listed all the types. And didn't one of you guys have a list of types, demon types we're going to talk about?
Not really types, because I was going to do like an offshoot list, but that would basically cover forever. So I thought I'd get the more culturally significant ones.
Okay.
The first one, obviously, being the succubus and incubus, which, to be honest, Hazzard, you could probably tell us more about them.
Yeah.
I don't actually have my tabs right now.
Aww.
I actually just thought in general you would know because you were quite into them for a while. Okay, fair enough. So basically, succubus and incubus, they're Lillian demons. The succubus is the female form. The male form is the incubus. What they do is they sneak into people's rooms at night and, depending on the version you hear, they either lay on top of them and make them really uncomfortable, or they have sex with them. And in some cases, plant demon seed.
And if it's an incubus, they have 2 penises.
That is true. It's funny, actually.
It's funny how he knows that.
Yeah, it's funny how he knows that. No, the legend is that the baby conceived by the incubus, funny enough, is known as a sprite. So if you have a bad child, it was believed that you'd accidentally given birth to a baby incubus, basically, and you had to drown it.
Oosh.
I shit you know, this is what they did. Yeah, they would take the child to the well and drown it.
In the well?
Well, yeah, or any other large body of water. If there's a lake nearby, I suppose you could use that.
I thought you were only supposed to throw Jews down the well.
Let's just throw this demonic influence into our main drinking water source.
That sounds a lot like what
I see where you're coming from.
The well.
I think the idea is once it's dead, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I can imagine the water sources in the 1700s not being that clean anyway.
That's true. I got to make beer out of everything, otherwise you can't drink it.
I would imagine 26% of all the beer in England at that time contained some level of feces.
Oh God!
I mean, who needs a toilet when you got a perfectly good window or a hole in the ground, right?
Right.
I was about to say, with all the Indians in England, I'm imagining right now probably about 25% of it has feces in it.
In the current year.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
It hurts.
What were you saying earlier, Hazzard, about Solomon? Before I forget about this, you said, what was the point of his book? In the demons, it was just that he was forced to worship 2 demons. Is that what you said?
No.
It was really edgy.
It was the Testament of Solomon was a text that was written and sometime between the 1st and the 5th century, and it's alternately been attributed to being written by him or being written about events that he went through, but essentially. Like I said, I don't have my tabs open right now.
But wasn't that okay? So wasn't that because? God gave him power to command and control demons, right? And he did. He used them to build the temple.
Yes, he used them to build the Temple of Solomon, but eventually he fell in love with a woman and tried bargaining off his worship to 2 demons in exchange for her love, and then God took his power back from him.
Right. Well, basically,
3Ds, yo.
Yeah.
The book about the Testament of Solomon is actually more like kind of a self-help manual against demonic activity, because he basically talked about how he enslaved them, how he basically got, because he there's like a whole section where he questions the demons about like how they can be thwarted or how they can be captured or how what their weak points are or whatever. So basically he was kind of like writing a how-to on until he ran into, what was her name? The 3D.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, if you have to pick between a 3D PD and a succubus, go with the succubus, because they're both gonna steal your soul in the end, and the succubus is probably gonna be better in bed.
It's literally impossible to argue against that.
Can I bring up another type of demon?
Yeah, please.
Okay, right. So this one, some of you may have heard of if you've ever played the game Doom, a cacodemon. Yes. It's an evil spirit, or in the modern sense of the word anyway, a demon. The opposite of the cacodemon is I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word. We'll ignore that bit. But basically, they're just general mischievous and demons that actually come out of the world and actually possess people. So if a person is possessed, it's usually by the cacodemon. The interesting part about cacodemons is actually it's led to a scientific phrase called cacodemonomania, which is actually the pathological belief that one is inhabited or possessed by an evil demon. So it's actually carrying on to this day, the idea behind that. In Richard III by Shakespeare, Queen Margaret calls Richard a cacodemon for his foul deeds. So bringing back the Shakespeare theme. There you go. But most of the stuff out on here is in popular culture. Things like Dungeons and Dragons. Cacodemon is a powerful Yugoloth demon. Things like that. It's interesting because I think until sort of the fantasy genre popularized, that it wasn't really particularly heard of, and yet it's considered one of the most influential demons in the human world.
And since you brought up Dungeons and Dragons, we have to always emphasize and remember that demons are chaotic evil, devils are lawful evil. Don't get the two confused.
Right. Why is that? Where do you draw the line between a demon and a devil?
I don't know. I mean, devils tend to be more organized, at least, and have castes and, classes in some form of hierarchy, whereas demons just...
We'll see. And there's where
so the devils are like the DNC and stuff?
No. According to certain people, like Sebastian Michaelis, he wrote a book which classified demons, and there are 3 tiers of hierarchies in demons, and they have rank and order to them. So I don't necessarily know that they're
right. Some come from the Telestial Kingdom, some from the the wrong religion.
Where were you going with that? My bad.
Mormonism.
Yeah.
Right.
We are the Paranormies.
Well, that's because we were tinfoil.
Wait, was I supposed to have my tinfoil underwear and pasties on for this? I'm only at
we are talking about demons, man.
Yeah,
do you really want to take that risk?
What mask are we at right now?
I'm wearing a full suit of armor, mate. Full suit.
Yeah, I'm literally like, you can't hear it because I've it's been broken.
I have that diamond encrusted cod piece.
Is that better than tinfoil?
It just looks cool.
Okay. It doesn't actually.
It's just what he's into.
Okay. But
dude, how are you going to prevent succubi from giving you random erections in the middle of the night if you don't have tinfoil?
I kind of like that. Moving on.
So, so that was, so do you guys want to, what are we at, about 40?
We're at about
you guys want to take a little break now, or you want to go a little further, or what?
I think we can call that a half.
All right.
That's pretty good.
We'll take a little break now. We got some music for you this week. Hazzard, we got a song this week?
We'll wrestle something up. Not
to put you on the spot or anything. No, we have a
dude. My computer locked up 30 minutes ago.
I know. I'm fucking with you. We have music. Hazzard has the music. We will put it in the break right now. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Wanders where you roam. this Sunday. Pour yourself a warm cup of cider, bite into some crispy tendies, and tune in at 10 a.m. EST to listen to the Culture-Conf crew and the Darwin Digest discuss the science and philosophy behind what keeps you up at night. Ever wonder the implications of chaos theory on your daily life? Are you looking forward to a time when meme magic surpasses our very own technology? How about the biology of vampires and zombies? Find out about these subjects and more live for a spook-free, spooky morning, only on TRS Radio.
All right, everybody, we're back. This is the Paranormies presents the Ahnenerbe Hour. I'm Johnny Monoxide with Greyfield Stray, Adam Haidt, and Hazzard McRee. We are talking about demons.
We are.
Yeah, and we got through King James and some demonology, and
really fascinating stuff too.
Yeah,
I think the dynamic that King James wrote one of the most important holy texts of this millennium, but also was knee deep in demon scuzz.
Oh, we're talking about something completely different then.
No, he was knee deep in that too, but
literally, he was really into footing.
All right.
Is footing? I mean, I know it's
is footing illegal.
Stop.
Do they call it footing?
Stop.
I don't know.
We're demons.
Is that like when stomp a mud hole in someone's ass?
Yeah, it's got to be demonic. Well, they did say that. Actually, it was Aleister Crowley said that one of the ways to prepare the body for demonic possession was to
a foot in the ass.
Was during anal sex. So
Red Foreman was like a demonologist.
No, that's a foot in the ass. Yeah, no, it's but yeah.
So does that mean we're going to need to send a Paranormies expedition out to Bill's Standard Fuck House?
Dumbass! What did you guys smoke on break? Seriously.
Well,
that's some good shit. That's some good shit.
Now we're going to do the table where the camera, switches around.
No, we're not. All right, can we?
Kelso was the best character from that.
Stop it right now.
It's an El Camino. That's Spanish for the Camino, dude. All right, I'm done. Promise.
Okay. God damn it! I was gonna get all into the hierarchy of demons and where they come from and stuff.
I think that's a much better idea than what I had.
That 70s choosing us right now. Well, we all know, I don't know if we all know this, but theory is that demons were originally angels, and they were all cast out of heaven, and the angels
partying too hard.
For partying too hard, and I guess questioning authority or whatnot. But the first hierarchy is the seraphim, the cherubim, and thrones, and they consisted of Beelzebub, who was just below Lucifer. He was the prince of the seraphim, and of course Lucifer and Leviathan were the first three angels to fall. And Beelzebub tempts men with pride, and is opposed by Saint Francis. I guess every demon has a saint to oppose it. You guys know about that in Catholicism, right?
No,
right.
I haven't heard about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. So St. Francis opposes Beelzebub. That's his mortal enemy.
He's the Lord of the Flies, isn't he?
Who, Beelzebub?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, according to the Encyclopedia Demonica.
Is he? Okay, so he's the Lord of the Flies? Okay.
Yeah, it's a Hebrew
right, yeah.
demon.
Yeah. So this hierarchy was first came up in 1613. It's Sebastian Michaelis, and it's basically the classifications of the demons, and they're apparently they're saints. They're opposing saints. Most demons' names are exclusively French in most catalogs, but Saint John the Baptist and Saint John the Evangelist are the two Saint Johns to whom everybody refers to other saints are cited without making clear whether they're French or Latin. So whatever.
Yeah.
But so secondly, you have Leviathan, who is another prince of the seraphim, and he tempts people to give into heresy, and he's opposed by Saint Peter. And you have Asmodeus, which was the third prince of the seraphim.
Really, Saint Peter.
Saint Peter. And
That's
Leviathan,
interesting, considering he denied Jesus 3 times.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Jesus did
deny him 3 times, and
going to do it, so you know.
yeah,
I mean, that pretty much was heresy.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, there you go. So you have Asmodeus, the third prince of the seraphim. He had people, he had a burning desire to tempt men into wantonness. So, and he's opposed by St. John the Baptist, who was apparently very chaste. Then you have Berith.
Hanging out in baptizing people in the River Jordan, eating locusts and honey.
Right. What did you say, Gray?
Chased by who?
Oh, right. he's got to get at least one in every episode. Berith is prince of the cherubim. He tempts men to commit homicide, to be quarrelsome and blasphemous, and he's opposed by Saint Barnabas. Astaroth is the prince of the thrones, tempts men to be lazy, and is opposed by Saint Bartholomew. Verin was also a prince of the thrones, just below Astaroth. He tempts men with impatience and is opposed by Saint Dominic. And you have Greyfield, the third prince of thrones, who tempts men with impurity and is opposed by Saint Bernard. And Sonelian was the fourth prince of thrones and tempts men to hate and is opposed by Saint Stephen, who obviously doesn't have a hateful bone in his body. So you have this second hierarchy. Those are the top tier. Those are like the big wigs, the big guns. Second hierarchy is powers, dominions, and virtues. And you've got, it's got like basically all the sins. Like, every single one of these.
I was about to say, it sounded like, there's a demon who has a sphere of influence over every one of the 7 deadly sins.
Well, if you go back further,
there's a virtue.
Right, exactly. And that's why you have your saint to the opposing saint. Mm-hmm. So even earlier, so before this, you have Peter Binsfield did a classification in 1589, and it was in English, and it was based on the 7 deadly sins. Like you were just saying, as you said, it sounds like there's a demon for every sin, and they did. So you have Lucifer is pride, Mammon is greed, Asmodeus is lust, Leviathan is envy, Beelzebub is gluttony, Satan is wrath, and Belphegor is sloth. So that's your 7 deadly sins.
Well, I think it's actually rather amusing there that if you actually take a look at your older church doctrine, lust wasn't originally one of the 7 deadly sins.
Really?
Yeah, originally it was, instead of lust, it was luxury, but then the then the church began to become quite wealthy and started getting everything blinged up, so we couldn't have luxury being a sin then anymore, could
really? Really? Because the 7 deadly sins are from the Old Testament, which is... Right? Aren't they?
No, the 7 deadly sins and the 7 heavenly virtues are from. It's from Catholic dogma. From when was it?
Really?
It's not actually in the Old Testament.
Were the vices and like the theory of like vices and stuff developed? For some reason, I have no ideas why I think this or like remember reading this, but I feel like the vices were developed and like understood first, and then sort of consolidated in a sense into the 7 deadly sins. And I don't know, something about how vice is supposed to lead to sin or something.
Yeah, the ones found in the Bible, the biblical antecedents. The first one really is in the book of Proverbs. Oh, Jesus Christ. The book of Proverbs 6:16 to 19.
Right.
Whoa.
And that's the 7 deadly sins, right?
6 things. The 6 things the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him.
Yeah, so the
Proud
Old Testament, so
look,
Proverbs,
a
the Old
lying
Testament.
tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked acts, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, he that soweth discord among brethren.
So be nice, kids.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so the Old Testament, Proverbs.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was an Old Testament thing. So it was...
But the actual 7 deadly sins come from the works of the 4th century monk Evagrius Ponticus.
Yeah, because I guess wrath would be covered under the murder part.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And originally it was gula, luxuria, avaritia, superbia, tristitia, ira, vanagloria, and acedia. So gluttony, luxury, greed, pride, despair, wrath, vainglory, and sloth. And it's there was an 8th one back then, and vainglory was an excessive belief in one's own abilities or attractiveness to others. That kind of got lost as things went on, and eventually luxury became lust.
Interesting. I feel that now that we've sort of looked at the hierarchy and what sin leads to, I think we should probably look at those who give in to sin and are possessed.
Yeah,
I think that's a good segue.
Possession. Yeah.
I was looking into it, and I think the easiest way to sort of do it would be just to read a few short stories based on it. The factual stories, not fiction here. So in 1906, Clara Germana Cele was a Christian student at St. Michael's Mission in natal South Africa. For some reason, Cele prayed and made a pact with Satan when she was 16 years old. Just days later, Cele was overtaken by strange impulses. She was repulsed by religious artifacts like crucifixes. She could speak and understand several languages of which she had no previous knowledge, and she became a clairvoyant regarding the thoughts and histories of the people around her. Nuns who attended Cele reported that she produced horrible animalistic sounds. She also levitated 5 feet in the air. Eventually, 2 priests were brought in to perform an exorcism. Cele tried to strangle one of the priests with his stole, and over 170 people witnessed her levitating as the priest read scripture. And I believe that's the one that actually inspired The Exorcist, I think, the Cele possession, if I remember rightly.
The which possession? I'm sorry, the Cele possession.
Yeah, the Clara Cele possession.
This was in South Africa.
It was.
South Africa.
I thought this story was the Anna Eklund story.
Anna Eklund. Okay, I must be mistaken then.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying that's just because I could be wrong. You can grab it because this is like America's most famous case was Anna Eklund.
Would you like to tell that one? Because I don't really have that on my list.
Oh, it's surprise. Well, I can read you this. Yeah, we're looking at these earlier. There's a book called Begone Satan, written by Father Carl Vogel about 80 years ago, and it was published in 1973. It's basically like a thick pamphlet distributed around seminaries around the United States to familiarize priests with the devil and to point out how you know whether they're possessed or not. It's not that long. It's like 38 pages or so. It's actually downloadable as a PDF.
So we should read that as the creepypasta, the whole thing, all 38 pages.
All 38 pages? All right, well. And the one you were talking about was Anneliese Michael?
Oh, no, I was talking about Clara Cele, but I was actually getting to Anneliese Michael, the one who supposedly inspired the exorcism of Emily Rose.
Okay, that's the Emily Rose one. Okay, so I may be getting these all confused.
To be fair, they're all very similar
but
cases.
Anna Eklund was possessed by multiple demons. There were all kinds of other entities that were like at one time they were human, and now there was the spirit of her father, Jacob Eklund, and her aunt, which was and also her father's mistress was she was possessed by, and Judas Iscariot was one of the possessing spirits. That's pretty interesting.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Which Judas is this? The one that betrayed Jesus?
Yes, Judas Iscariot. Yep. Yeah, she was like physically unable to enter a church.
Right.
But see, it wasn't like all of a sudden with her. It was she was starting to have symptoms when she was like 12, 13, 14. Couldn't go near anything holy or sacred, like blessed objects or whatever. A painting of Jesus or a crucifix, whatever, would like she couldn't be anywhere near it. And so she like was actually physically unable to go into a church.
Interesting.
And and she had like an obsessive interest in depraved and disturbing sexual acts at like the age of 14. So, and this is like well before the age of perversion of today, where 14-year-olds regularly do things that,
Well, you say that, but when I was 14, nah, fair enough.
Okay. But yeah, so the reason being is because her dad was they say that her dad had an incestuous relationship with her, and that kind of helped. So apparently he had done some stuff like sex magic rituals with her and whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that helped with possession. So,
well, the other one I wanted to bring up was the case of Julia. Now, do you guys know about this one? This one's a bit of a messed up one.
Mm-mm.
More so than the others, I'd say.
Read it a little more dramatically.
Okay. In 2008, Dr. Richard E. Gallagher, board-certified psychiatrist.
I was gonna mention him pretty soon. Continue on with the story. I've got something about this guy after that.
Okay. Associate Professor of Clinical Psychiatry at New York Medical College documented the case of a patient nicknamed Julia, who he introduced.
Just slow down a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I've lost my place now. Documented a case of a patient nicknamed Julia, who he deduced was indeed possessed by demons. It is rare that a scientist and a psychiatrist would acknowledge the possibility of possession. Typically, doctors think the possession is either fraudulent or a result of mental illness. Dr. Gallagher personally observed items floating around the room, Julia levitating off the bed, speaking in tongues, and knowing things about people around her she could not possibly have known. Here is an excerpt from Dr. Gallagher's statement. Periodically, in our presence, Julia would go into a trance state of recurring nature, writes Gallagher. Mentally troubled individuals would often disassociate, but Julia's trances were accompanied by an unusual phenomenon. Out of her mouth would come various threats, taunts, and scatological language, phrases like, "Leave her alone, you idiot, she's ours," and "Leave her, you imbecile priest," or just leave. The tone of the voice differed markedly from Julia's own, and it varied, sometimes sounding guttural and vaguely masculine, and other times points high-pitched. Most of her comments during these trances or the subsequent exorcisms displayed a marked content for anything religious or sacred. And yeah, I was going to say we should get on to Gallagher, and I think you really should tell your tale on this one.
Right.
So Richard Gallagher is a very interesting man. Richard Gallagher is a board-certified psychiatrist, a professor of clinical psychiatry, and he is also a man who works very closely with a group of priests who deal with cases of demonic possession. In the late 1980s, a priest came to him and proposed that the two of them begin working together. The priest was, for those of you that don't know, the Catholic Church actually has a group of priests who are trained in the rites of exorcism, and that's their specialty. They go across the country investigating cases of possessions, demonic activity, etc. So the priest who asked for him to come help, Dr. Gallagher told him that even as a practicing Catholic, he wasn't likely to go in for a lot of hocus pocus. And the priest told him, unless we thought you were not easily fooled, we would hardly have wanted you to assist us. So since the late 1980s, Dr. Gallagher has been assisting these priests, going in as a consultant, trying to determine which are people that are deluded, mentally ill, potentially schizophrenics, or a host of other mental illnesses, and cases where there is no medical explanation. At least none that's easily observable. And like Greyfield has said, there are a number of cases where Dr. Gallagher said, I don't think this is mental illness. I think there is something evil at work here.
Well, one such case would be Ahnenerbe Johnson, who was actually tried for murder. There's a story here. Here we go. Known as the Demon Murder Trial, the case of Ahnenerbe Johnson is the first known court case in the United States during which the defense attempted to prove that the defendant was not guilty by reason of possession. In 1981, Ahnenerbe Johnson murdered his landlord, Alabono, in Connecticut. Johnson's attorney argued that his actions indicated a pattern of erratic behavior that began when Johnson was just a child. Johnson's family even consulted with demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren, saying that the child had been taunted and harassed by unknown entities for his entire life. Sorry, it is a he. Okay, I thought it was a woman. They also asserted that his evil doings were not from a psychological disorder, but from a demonic possession. Ultimately, the judge ruled that demonic possession was not a valid defense against first-degree murder. He was convicted and served a mere 5 years of his 10 to 20-year sentence.
And he was like, you'd think that, people would try that a little more often.
Tell me about
right.
it. I mean, I think he only served the 5 years because they considered it mental disorder that he had. But, yeah, interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
So he's got a mental disorder that caused him to murder people, and they're like, yeah, just let him back out on the street.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, that's nice. It's good to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, did you have? Was that the last of your stories?
I've got a load more, but I'm going to stop there because that's the most interesting one, to be honest.
Okay. So demonic possession. Oh wow. She had this girl had inhuman and human like spirits and possessing demons inside of her. She supposedly had Lucifer, Beelzebub, Judas, Jacob, and and many lesser demons. Wow.
To be fair, I've known a lot of women who have had a lot of men inside them, but not quite like this.
Right?
Oh.
Hashtag.
There's a lot of
earlier, Johnny, you were mentioning that some people had made like contracts with the devil, deals with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And there is one German legend in particular that a lot of our listeners might be familiar with, the story of Dr. Faust, who it's a story, it's kind of the archetypal story of deals with the devil. And basically what happened was Faust was this really smart dude, this doctor, and he was bored in life. Just, it was kind of that thing where he was just, I don't know, maybe too smart for his own good. And just got sick of, living in such a boring world, according to him. And so he tried to kill himself, and that failed. And then he decided that he would just strike up a deal with the devil in order to get more knowledge, because I don't know, I guess he thought there was, power and knowledge inaccessible to him. So
If I remember correctly, he was an aspiring alchemist, wasn't he?
That sounds right. I'm not really an expert on this. So sorry, I can't confirm or deny that. That sounds pretty reasonable. This is a 1500s-ish legend that was pretty popular in that time. So the devil's, I don't know, it was lawyer, I guess, named Mephistopheles came to him, and I'm sure he had the typical, beady eyes, big nose, sweaty, sort of form, I'm guessing anyway, and made a deal and said, hey, all right, we will give you access to demonic powers and knowledge in exchange for your soul. You'll be damned and you'll go to hell. You won't be able to go to heaven when you die.
Mm-hmm.
So Faust is like, yeah, sounds great, and signs up for that deal. And it goes on, and the kind of the main thing about the story is that he tries to seduce this girl named Gretchen, who's super beautiful and really, really innocent, and her innocence eventually lets her save her soul and go to heaven. But the devil eventually catches up to Faust, and they made a deal, and you can't get out of a deal you made with the devil. And so Faust said, his soul is forfeit, he is cast into hell. But the whole idea of making a deal with the devil where you exchange your permanent and eternal soul for temporal and physical material gains is a very, very common sort of theme in moral stories. And some would even say people even today carry out that kind of behavior.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Faust is the first ever dramatic presentation of it cinematically was by F.W. Murnau, the same guy who did Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he'd be the guy to do it.
Yeah, I know, right? And it was a silent movie as well, so that's pretty cool. But I mean, every time it's been sort of done to death, especially in things like, say, like the comic book industry. I think it was Marvel who had the character Mephisto.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mephistopheles from Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Mephisto is basically the modern version. Hell, I mean, he's appeared in God knows how many different adaptations. Heck, you can even look at the games like the Twisted Metal series, and that's got Mephisto in it as well, in itself. So, It's it's a pretty common.
Demons?
He's only a clown in one, as I remember.
Well, the interesting thing is that according to this the doctor we were talking about earlier, Dr. Gallagher, cases of demonic possession are up and on the rise of late.
Really?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Across the U.S. alone.
I see it on Drudge all the time. Matt Drudge is always posting stories about that kind of thing.
But evidently, the United States is currently home to about 50 exorcists, priests that their job is to combat demonic activity. And about 10 to 12 years ago, that number was only 12.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in weird times these days.
Well, I don't know if it's just land mass to sort of dwelling ratio, but America seems to have one of the sort of most condensed sort of amount of sort of hauntings. What's the fuck's a haunting? Hauntings, possessions, things like this. You really only ever hear cases about them in the US generally these days.
Yeah. Somebody said something interesting about that. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the fact that we're a relatively young country and our people are still full of piss and vinegar, for lack of a better term.
That's why there's more. That's why there's more demonic possessions, because of the piss and the vinegar.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Oh, well, on our last episode.
Or maybe we're more vulnerable to demonic possession because of certain influences that we're exposed to all the time.
Interesting.
On our last episode with Weave, he talked about we're entering the age of heroes. And I think at the very least we're entering an age of sort of a ancient, it's going to sound cheesy, but just old powers are being reawakened. We see that in the resurgence of me magic and the resurrection of Keck. And
well, it's like we said, the old gods and the old magics are coming back into the world. So,
and yeah, I'm a little bit worried in a sense because if I recall correctly, Keck is the god of chaos and darkness who has to, he's there before the age of light is ushered in. And to me, what that means to me is that it's cliche, but it's always darkest just before dawn. And I think The Age of Darkness is probably going to get real dark before the Age of Light is fully initiated, I suppose.
It's interesting you bring up Keck, actually, because if his mannerisms are anything to go by, in any other religion, he would be considered a demon.
Oh, he definitely fits the trickster archetype.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything outright malicious about Keck, but definitely he's not the sort that you want to anger.
No.
Well, here's the thing, actually. I'm just looking at a page on Satan, bringing it back to Christianity. And Judaism, for example, does not actually have a concept of a devil. Essentially, they seem to believe that they're above reproach.
Well, they have the accuser, don't they? They have the...
well, according to this,
what is his name?
texts make no direct link between the serpent and the
The adversary.
No direct link between the serpent and Eve and the Garden of Eden. And in Genesis, the only references to Satan are in Zechariah and in Job.
Well, he's sort of he's like the... I can't believe I forgot the word twice in a row.
Adversary?
Adversary, yeah, I just remembered it too. Thank you. He's kind of a lawyer figure, which sounds pretty Jewish.
Oy vey.
Where he's sort of, judging people's souls, trying to finagle deals with them all the time. I don't know how much of that is really a Jewish tradition. So maybe it's just what the Jewish version of meme magic they memed into reality when they lost control of Christianity. They're like, all right, we got to F these guys up. Because Goyim can't keep getting away with it.
Or maybe they
can't keep getting away with it.
Meme a new demon at them.
Shut it down.
Yeah, maybe that should be our episode title, Meme and a Demon.
Meme and a demon.
So what you're suggesting is we make a deal with Keck to remove them and then take it from there?
Yeah, but Keck will take care of us.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll end up in like some sort of chaotic void at the end of our lives, but he'll make sure it's not too many cactuses under the fingernails.
Oh.
Look, as long as he gives me a succubus.
Yeah.
Right, but the thing about the succubi is they always end up killing the person.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm already dead, I'm not exactly going to care, am I?
Yeah. Also, wrong demon. You want Lilith for succubi, which, funny enough, is a Jewish demon, I believe.
You guys want to hear a funny little story here about an ancient biblical possession?
Go on.
Have you guys ever heard of the book of Tobit?
No.
It's an apocryphal book. It's one of the books.
Yeah.
One of the apocryphal books that weren't actually in the Bible.
Okay.
Yes.
I've heard of that.
So Sarah.
Is it one of the Gnostic texts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Sarah resided in the city of Media, which is funny, and was tormented by a demon. She'd been married to 7 husbands, and all of whom the evil spirit Asmodeus had killed before they had lain with her. So, the first time they were about to get some, and Asmodeus wasn't having it.
So she's Sari with the cherry.
Right. And, well, here's the thing is that this indicated that the demon had caused her to strangle them, as is in Tobit 3, 8. Yeah.
So the last guy was like, all right, she strangled her last 6 husbands.
She couldn't possibly strangle the 7th.
Are we sure it's a demon? Are we sure it isn't nothing?
Is it just a woman?
That's the best application of that one yet, Gray. I like that. That was good. Yeah. So I'm going to say there's a good chance it was nothing and she was just a crazy bitch and strangled 7 dudes. But
#thought genocide.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the most prolific demon, one of the most prolific exercisers of demons in history was
it a Bowflex?
Hitler?
Jesus. Come on, guys. Jesus. It was Jesus, not.
I thought that was like an expletive.
I wasn't being,
Jesus Christi.
no. Jesus Cristo.
Oh, that's true. He cast out spirits into some pigs that ran off a cliff that one time.
Right.
Yeah, the Legion.
Yes. No.
Our name is Legion, for we are many.
Yes.
Seems like a waste of ham
in
to
the
me.
book of Matthew, mostly in the book of Matthew. Well, actually, in all the apostle, not the apostles, the
original trilogy.
The original trilogy. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That escapes me right now what they call them, and somebody's going to spurg out in the comments.
It can still be a trilogy. I mean, look at the Hitchhiker's Guide trilogy.
Right, there's 5 books. Right?
Well, John is a very different story.
Yeah.
Mark, Matthew, and Luke are pretty consistent, and John is like inconsistent in some cases.
Right. Yeah, well, there's a lot of inconsistencies between them. But we're not going to get into the biblical inconsistencies.
No, John, Jesus didn't have wheels.
What?
I'm just guessing here.
What?
There was
real
one
Greyfield hours.
Yeah.
Real Greyfield hours. No, but there's a lot of demon possession in the New Testament, actually, more than the Old Testament. So the ancient Greeks had demonic possession. The Jews, of course, had demonic possession. Christianity, Catholicism, there was a lot of satanic or demonic possession.
It's not just limited to the Judeo-Christian countries or even to the Western societies. I mean, the Japanese have a large series of demonic possessions. I mean, we'll touch on that briefly, but I think it would be interesting to do an episode at a later date about demons and malevolent spirits from a non-Judeo-Christian perspective.
The Onryu and all that.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know any nips we could bring on?
Whoa. Oh, actual Japanese? Yes, the nips. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not just going to post pictures of our nipples.
Look, I don't know about you guys, but I can pass the pink nipple test. I'm not ashamed for my nipples to go up.
Yeah, my nipples are green.
We are on the bridge too far, guys. Bring it back. We're talking about demons and demon possession and crazy shit. Well, you were saying something about the exorcism of Emily Rose, Gray?
Hang on, I've actually...
You guys want to hear, while you're looking for that, you guys want to hear what some of the stuff happened during that Anna girl's exorcism?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what it sounds like when somebody gets sucked to hell. What do you think it would sound like?
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you about some of the things that it sounds like when people have demons exorcised. How about that? So she exhibited inhuman strength, sometimes required as many as 6 athletic nuns to hold her down. She levitated completely off the ground on more than one occasion. She leapt from the bed, from the lying down position, onto the wall across the room above the door, where she held on and maintained her position, crouching, apparently defying gravity, while holding onto the side of the wall. While she was unconscious, voices would talk and blaspheme and verbally assault people and everybody in the room, not through her mouth. They came from her throat. Her lips never actually moved. She vomited, spit, drooled, shit, inhuman amounts, quantities of solids and fluids. Like, it was like she was urinating buckets of liquid at a time, and she wasn't eating or drinking anything at all. Like, she would go for days without eating and drinking, and then somehow piss an entire bucket of chunky urine. Like, I'm just saying.
Norovirus.
Yeah, she would vomit such items as tobacco leaves and debris, which somehow was in her stomach, like full tobacco leaves. That's pretty crazy. Her head physically elongated and swelled at certain times. Her body seemed as if it would expand to the point of severe bloating. So it appeared that she was almost double her normal size. So she had and then it would retract back to normal, like nothing. Her lips would swell. They said on the occasions to the size of hands. She had possessed gravity to the point where, like, laying in bed, she became so heavy that the bed would sink and the iron bed frame was bent. She spoke several languages, dozen languages that she couldn't have possibly known. She many times, like, said things that, like, there's no way she could have known what she was, like, hidden knowledge or some sort of occult knowledge, and that there's no way that a 20-year-old girl would be able to know this back in those days. She, of course, the verbal assault, and the priest constantly actually reciting sins of the nuns and the priests back to them that they had actually sinned when they were children. So, like, some of them, like, she predicted a car accident, and literally it happened, like, right after she predicted it. Like, smells would come out of her that were just like would draw, and for some reason hordes of flies and mosquitoes would suddenly just manifest and then poof, gone. Yeah, this is the last one. They said this is the only case of possession where the priests had a lucid, vivid, waking vision with this sixth sense during the exorcism. Without him stopping the exorcism for the last half hour or so of the final exorcism, Father Theophilus physically saw both Lucifer and Beelzebub standing in the corner, confined there. The room was completely set aflame in the vision, and Lucifer, described as being extremely tall with matted black fur on his lower hoof body and wearing a crown, was seething with rage at Father Theophilus. That's a really awkward name. Because he was confined by God's law to be unable to cause physical harm to a person. And Beelzebub was also there as the second in command, also seething in rage, but not quite as vocal. So, like, all of them physically saw Lucifer and Beelzebub there. So that's a pretty extensive list of crazy stuff. I mean, you see the movies, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Exorcist, and the things that happen where they show, their heads spinning around and spitting green stuff out, and it's just a movie. Well, this is actually, like, again, it's anecdotal and historical, but it's been there. I've seen videos of an exorcism of this Italian girl who was, like, 13. They have her both, like, handcuffed to a chair. And she, like, and this is from, like, the 80s or something. And this priest is exorcising her, is trying to get the demon out of her. And, like, literally, there's these sounds that are coming out of her. And it's actually been, and it's not like a movie that you see on sci-fi or something or whatever. This is an actual documented, exorcism. And the sounds that come out of their bodies, there's no way that a 92-pound, 14-year-old girl could make that sound. Mm-hmm. And it's not a Hollywood production either. So this is, I don't necessarily, I don't not believe in demonic possession. Mm-hmm. So you were saying, you say that, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, you pretty much covered my point. I was going to say, you said that we have an awful lot of recent recorded footage. Even to an extent, when we talk about the Exorcism of Emily Rose and the woman that was based on Annalise Michel, there's footage of her exorcism, be it in black and white. And this was in, like, the early 70s, 73.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. Annalise Michel, she was considered a controversial case because basically the story got changed every time someone told it. But she had a history of epilepsy and mental illness for which she had often been treated at a psychiatric hospital. However, in 73, Michelle became suicidal, spurned all religious artifacts, drank her own urine, and began to hear voices. Medicine did nothing to help the girl, who begged her family to bring in a priest because she believed, this is the victim asking that she be taken to a priest because she believed that she was possessed by demons. Though her requests were rejected, 2 local priests secretly began treating her with exorcism rites. Meanwhile, her parents stopped treating her epilepsy and mental disorders. She was dead within a year. So this is a bit of a blurred line on this one because there is elements of this which you could probably put up to parental abuse. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it dark, but that's
crazy. Yeah, no, yeah. And yeah, like, what do you guys think of modern demon possession?
It's
I
interesting.
think we're entering very chaotic spiritual times, and there's not really anything that I think is impossible, I suppose. there's no reason, I think, that there would, like there could only be like Judeo-Christian demons, but just through sheer because Christianity is like basically a meme, you can consider it that, it's the power of collective consciousness. I could see manifesting in demonic possessive symptoms.
Yeah, I think also as we get more technologically advanced, we become more avaricious. We live in luxury and we sin more. We open ourselves up to these demons. I mean, if we're using the Christian terminology here, and that in itself pretty much invites them into us. The biggest worry for me, though, is if demonic possession becomes mainstream, I can see it being the new ADHD. Blame their child.
That's being the new ADHD.
Yeah. Like where your parents like, oh, I can't control him. He's possessed by demons. There's nothing I can do about it.
That sounds like a South Park plot.
I'll pitch it to them and see what I can get out of it. But yeah, that's the thing. I think if we take virtue and sin as literal, I think society now is more simple and more degenerate.
I think definitely there is. I think definitely that can be said to be true. I think it would be interesting to take a look at maybe some East Asian societies and see that as their morals and cultural taboos have degenerated and sort of devolved, if their tales of, malevolent influences and possessions have started to spread and go open.
Japan has nuclear demons now. Atomic gremlins and stuff.
Really now?
That's where two bomb. That's gotta have some influence on their mimetic psyche and their spiritual...
Didn't you say yourself, Hazzard, that when they split the atom, they opened that portal to the other world and pulled demons out of it?
Mm-hmm.
When you're detonating those atoms, in quite a large scale over a large area, you must be releasing an awful lot of demons.
Yeah. That's when you get on that small of a level, weird stuff happens.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Very interesting.
Man, I don't know what to say about that, because it's very strange times, guys. Very strange times.
Yeah. Well, what about you? What do you feel, John? You've been very quiet on the subject, to be honest.
What about demon possession?
Well, yeah, just I suppose in the modern world.
Well, they always have I guess science explained away the stuff a while back, and I don't really know. I mean, I've done some reading. I've seen some of those videos, and it's crazy because I don't not believe that the whole they ripped a hole in the space-time continuum and pulled the demon through. That was the first time they split the atom and whatever. So they didn't go away. What are they? I don't know. Are they extra dimensional beings? Are they are they the archons?
Yeah, I mean when you take a look at it, we always have to abide by what Arthur C. Clarke said. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. If you have some sort of being that is incorporeal, I mean, what's the difference between that and a demon?
Right. Exactly.
I think another interesting point to make is, are they limited to Earth? Because I think, when we finally land people on the moon, hopefully we'll be able to find more evidence of it there.
Yeah, I mean, when we actually go there and we don't just get the next Stanley Kubrick to fake it. I mean, God forbid, if another Kubrick will get us another 9/11, I think we should actually just go to the moon.
Yeah, let's be careful with that, though, because he might just blow up the moon. You know what a monster he is.
Yeah.
They'll fly planes into the moon.
Planes into the moon? They flew planes. Never mind.
Jet fuel.
Dude,
let's
moon
beams.
We need to make sure. Is Stanley Kubrick still alive?
No, he was assassinated after he published Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay, I was about to say thank God for that.
Was it an assassination? Was it actually what happened?
Well, it's very mysterious circumstances, is my understanding.
That's another Michael Crichton sort of.
I mean, God forbid Stanley Kubrick and Steven Crowder ever meet. I don't think the world could take it.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Why did you bring up Michael Crichton?
Oh, he wrote some book about the New World Order, and all of a sudden had like this pancreatic cancer that killed him in the space of days.
Really?
That happened to Jack Ruby, but I guess that's for another episode.
Yeah, these are all for other episodes. But yeah, so wow, yeah, Stanley Kubrick was assassinated. Okay, so did Stanley Kubrick? How did we get to the moon from demons? God damn it!
Because I was basically using it to troll Hazzard.
Oh,
and it backfired.
Okay, yeah. And then we ended up talking about Eyes Wide Shut and Jurassic Park. No, wait.
I mean, I can talk. I mean, for Eyes Wide Shut, for what was supposed to be, potentially getting an AC-17 rating, there was nowhere near enough nudity.
You would know. I know. So.
Alternatively, Jurassic Park should have been classified higher, considering the amount of gore and death in that movie. That was a PG.
Jurassic Park should have been rated X and had dinosaur monster girls and less gore.
Okay.
All sounds
so
great to me.
We're into the shit posting section of the show. All right. Yep. It is late.
Autism Wrangler has no problem with this.
It's past the witching hour for Hazzard.
This is fine.
Getting into the witching hour. This is fine.
Everything is fine.
Yep.
Yeah. For those of us who are incredibly autistic, by the time you hear this, it's going to be October 25th. And you guys know what that means.
No.
What are you talking about by the time they hear this?
October 27th?
It'll be October 27th.
I know, that's why I said it'll be past October 25th.
Oh, okay. What is that?
The ones who need to know.
Oh, okay. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, that's a bit ominous.
He's doing inside jokes with his fan. No, I don't know, his fans.
No, at least I have one.
I know. This is true. No, we all have fans. This is great. Dude, like, I am really actually like I look at our numbers and stuff, and I'm like, wow, that many people listen to this show. That is awesome. Like, we appreciate it.
It's only going up. Hopefully, we'll get let's see if we can break. I don't know. What do you think? What are we going to set as our goal for?
No,
viewers?
we're not doing that. But setting goals. But we do have another show coming up in a couple days.
Yeah, the live show.
I'm going to play the commercial on this show. No, I'm kidding.
No, we should actually play the full commercial that has the guys that Silk Merchant put together.
I don't have that. But yeah, we do have. Do you have the file?
I have the file.
Okay, we'll send it to me. I'll stick it on there. Yeah, we're doing. Well, we're not doing it with them. The boys from Culture Conf and the crew from the Darwin Digest are doing a Halloween special, which you guys think is weird because Culture Conf and Darwin Digest are like science and philosophy, and they're going to do people. They're going to do like vampires and zombies and that kind of shit for Halloween. And then they're not going to be, and then it's live. They're doing that live in the morning. On Sunday, and then the Bongo Bongo Book Club are going to do a live reading. Is that what I'm being told?
Yes, the Bongo Bongo Book Club are going to be doing a live reading. Right now, what we're discussing with the absolutely amazing freelance autiste is potentially we're going to read some vibrant creepypastas, and then we might have the audience sit and go through a nice old Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure with the audience picking the decisions to make.
Are we doing the live seance? Because I've got the board now.
Ooh, now we haven't got to our show yet. And we're getting to, and then later on in the evening, we're going to have the live Paranormies with the call-in. We got the call-in, got it all set up. So you guys can call in and ask, whatever you want to ask. And we're going to have some special guests. We've got a few. You guys, some of them, hey. You guys did
some old friends, some new friends.
Some old friends, some new friends. That's right. Some old friends from new friends, and absolutely no
some associates.
So Yep. And that's Sunday. And what else we got going on? What else we got going on? This will be out Friday. Oh, I forgot. I did an episode of Darwin Digest with the guys from Darwin Digest and the newly doctrinated. No, she's a doctor now. Kathy Princess is now a doctor.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Is she a doctor or does she have her doctorate?
Yes.
Which one?
Is it a PhD?
I believe it's a PhD, yes. According to her, those real doctors.
She's not a medicus.
So you see, here we go. And this is one of the things we discussed is how in America, PhDs are just PhDs, but a medical doctor is a real doctor. And she said in the UK, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Gray, but medical doctors are just medical doctors, but real doctors are PhDs.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So we got it. Yeah, because people with PhDs don't drive Porsches. But
I myself have a doctorate in thugonomics. So.
Right. All right. So I did that.
More
we did
thugonomics.
We did some stuff. I actually did some science, but more pseudoscience. It was fun. What else we got going on, guys? We got the live show and then Halloween, and then we're gonna get into November and get into some more conspiratorial type stuff, huh?
Yeah, we're going to be doing soon. We don't know if we're going to have a lot of guests on during November. We have some very high profile ones. We're going to be doing the Kabbalah episode. I know you guys have been wanting us to do it. Everybody keeps asking us to do it. We will be doing it.
Mm-hmm. And what's the other one that people keep asking us for?
Guys, I'd be tempted to do because I know we were talking about doing one on assassinations. I'd be tempted to do that in November so we can mention the gunpowder plot.
Yes, remember the 5th of November.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do JFK too if we're going to do that because he was murdered.
We are Legion. We are anonymous. We will hack you and send all your stuff to the FBI. Wait a second.
But we're not big enough yet to get Jim Fetzer on.
Activated.
Right. Yes. Expect us. Yeah. Sorry. I hate the anonymous people. God damn, I hate those people.
If you guys really want to know about what happens October 25th, myself and Lawrence Murray are planning on co-authoring an article on esoteric McDagoism. You can read that and figure it all out.
I am so hyped. My body is so ready.
All right. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Paranormies present the Ahnenerbe Hour. Johnny Monoxide with Adam Haidt, Hazzard, and Greyfield Stray. You guys got anything in closing?
More ham for Gizmo?
Yeah, more ham for Gizmo.
He got all the ham today, didn't he? He ate all the ham out the door.
He got so much ham.
Yeah.
How often do you refill the ham drawer?
We just keep pigs now. It's like a ritual sacrifice.
Ritual sacrifice. That's another good topic we should do is ritual sacrifices. If we're going to do assassination.
We should also say that when we do the follow-up episode with non-Judeo-Christian demons or, supernatural beings, guys, write in, ask us, tell us what cultures you'd like us to cover. Obviously, the weebs are going to want us to cover Japan and yokai, but there's a lot of other stuff out there.
Yep.
You get Gra for Hinduism and then have a 90-hour episode. JK Gra.
Love you, bro.
We do, man. You're the best.
All right. So we're going to take you guys home with another creepypasta. We will talk to you Sunday. Later.
Yep.
Yeah, I've worked in prisons for the criminally insane for about 10 years now, and I can honestly say I wouldn't change my job for the world. With a little hard work, just about anybody can be rehabilitated, and I believe true justice can be served. Yeah, I remember my first day vividly, how terrified I was to do night shifts, how uneasy I got walking that long, dark, silent corridor. The phrase you hear on your first day sticks with you forever. Eyes down, keep right. This is a very old, very small prison, designed for only a select few patients. There's no doors, no glass, only metal bars. In fact, The ward itself is believed to be haunted. Patients describe a demon who paces back and forth, peering into their cells at night. But that's just what the new guys are told. Nowadays I can spot which new guys will stay and which will leave. Fascinates me seeing how these fresh faces handle certain situations, how passionate they are trying to rehabilitate people who have committed unspeakable acts. You need the kind of passion that I have. Now I don't want to go into too much detail here to save certain people's dignity, but let's just say I've seen more new officers leave than I've seen stay. I'm on a lead shift now with just one other officer, flicking through patient files again and again and again. This is the boring part. I like to put each folder in little piles, and I sort them by what I deem are the worst crimes. This is second nature to me now. Yeah, I could show you some stuff that would easily shatter your nerve as a new CO. Those are the type of patients that are on my ward. They're extremely unstable and incredibly dangerous due to their violent nature. If you think you're going to help them, don't ever forget that. I grab the keys and head on down that haunted corridor, locking myself in. It's unbearably silent and dark. The only light's coming through the thin slits on each cell. This is the part so many new recruits can't handle. The atmosphere is intense. It's essentially an old brick tunnel with a row of caged animals hissing, whispering, and crying. I keep to the right, set myself on the floor, peering in at the last dark cell. What are those marks you scratched on the wall, Briggs? Why don't you come closer to the bars, officer? I can barely see you lurking in the shadows out there. He whispered this from what sounded like the back of a cell. But I can't be certain. There's only a few patients here, so it's usually quiet and claustrophobic. Oh, I'm fine. Are those the names of your victims, Briggs? No response. He's hiding in some dark corner. All I can see from the light are scratches on the brick walls and his bed. How am I supposed to know how you're doing if you won't talk to me, Briggs? I open his file and start reading some details every now and then. Let's see here. 2 children taken from their home at night and drowned in a nearby river. Look what you did to their faces. Do they look familiar to you now? An abusive family is no excuse, Briggs. And I know what your father did to you. I can hear a slight whimpering coming from his cell as I recall his childhood. I didn't do anything. But you did. That's why you cry in your sleep. What do they say to you in your dreams? We'll be together soon. I watched them for months. His sobbing is getting worse now, and I can hear movement, almost as if he's dragging his knees across the cold, hard floor from one side of the cell to the other. I'm starting to feel spiteful now. His voice is starting to irritate me. You won't be in heaven, though, Briggs. I will. I feel dead already. I felt dead that very night. But you're not dead, Briggs. You're not dead yet. Here. I slide a mirror under his cell to hear his sobbing now become frantic murmurs. He scratches the walls, crying in agony, babbling angry, frightened gibberish. Shut up! Leave me alone! Look into it. Look at that ugly face. Bite, Briggs. Bite down on your tongue. And join them. I turn further away while listening to his disgusting gurgling and choking. I can hear him hissing and cursing through clenched teeth as I read the files out to him. I can't. I don't want to. Oh, yes you do, Briggs. You almost had it. I gave you a mirror. Use that. The sound of glass breaking. Silence. After 10 grueling minutes, it was all over. I picked up the file and headed back, rattling my baton along the other cells that I left. Yeah, I wouldn't change my job for anything.